Yeah. I think that's amazing. And it's fascinating to have this conversation with you because you have worked with family, you work with your husband. My thoughts on collaboration with family are just like, I have no desire to do it. Like, it sounds amazing in theory. And sometimes I see it's a very common thing for a lot of, maybe not a lot, but I see it for successful entrepreneurs. Many of them will bring their family into, the business. And I think that's amazing and wonderful. And I'm like, I just don't even want to engage with that mess because
Yeah.
it seems like in order to get the distance, you have to be kind of vigilant about, am I bringing my relationship stuff into this? Are we reinforcing relationship dynamics? Am I bringing my work stuff into the
Hmm.
relationship?
Oh, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how you navigate
Listen,
that?
you're so right. And I think anybody that's like, it's perfect and it's the best way to do things, I don't know that, like, maybe they just don't have really deep. So I don't know. I shouldn't say that. But like, I do think it's really hard. It's a choice. It's a tough thing. The reason that I decided to, like, I'll speak to maybe working with Steve is like Steve and I have done some kind of a creative project together since we were dating. So like
Wow.
I didn't have a blog until he came along. He was like, "You need a yoga
Oh,
blog. You need to like sell some classes on your website." And we would spend our we were in a long distance relationship. We would spend our weekends together like working on my website or like building some stuff. Like I get a lot of energy from working creatively with him, and that's always been part of our relationship. um I learned a ton from him, and he's always been really encouraging about my like wild ideas and adventures. I have to be careful about
mhm.
what I say to him sometimes, because I'll say like, oh, we should, you know spend all summer in Europe next year. And he'd be like, yeah, let's do that. Good idea. Let's figure it. Like, he will kind of roll with
Wow.
some ideas. And that's been amazing. But I think the reason that has worked for us is we have a very closely shared vision. We met in a spiritual context. We are really all about helping as many people as possible really live lives beyond their expectation. We say it in our book. It's like helping people realize the life the universe is dreaming for them. And it's very big and it's very grand, and we'll never be able to do it all. But it's because of that, it's easy to be aligned in like the vision and the values. So whatever we're up
Mhm.
to, we can help each other with. We're not actually working as closely right now as we were. But when he's got an issue, I can coach him on it. When I have an issue, he can coach me on it. When he's still like very involved in the day-to-day stuff. At first, it was a total mess when he came into this business full time, because I would think of something at 9 p.m. and be like, "Oh, did we pay that vendor? Did we pay this thing?" I'm like, "Oh, I forgot to tell you. So and so emailed and they need a session with you next week." And da, da. Like, I would just get like over the dinner table. I would be falling asleep and telling him something like,
Oh no.
and he like he just kind of, again, he rolled with it, and he was like,
Right.
that's fine. We would spend our date nights talking about the business. I had to realize what I was doing,
Hmm.
um and stop it. I had to be like, okay, it's past 9 p.m. I'm not even going to think about work. If something comes up in my head, I put it in Slack. I don't text him across the house. I don't go find
Hmm.
him. I try not to ask him about things about work after hours. And I have become very good about that. But that probably took me 6 months
That
of
makes
like,
sense.
because in my own world, I can think about work whenever I want.
Right.
It was
And
backwards.
in a world where he was just your partner, you could
Yes.
talk about
Yep.
work whenever
Yep.
you want and it wouldn't be working.
Yep.
Like
Yes.
that, it seems like that's probably one of the
Yeah.
main complications is that
Yeah.
like you have to be very boundaried about the ways in which you're engaging
Yeah.
with. him when like he's both the romantic partner and the business partner? It's
Yeah.
like, are we relating as business partners or romantic partners? And what does that look like? And what's the distinction?
Yeah. And like, okay, well, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but here we go. There was a time where I was like, I am much more interested in the business than our like romantic life because
Hmm.
it's so much more exciting. Like when you've been married for 10 years, it's, there's a lot of things that are just the same as always, but the
Yeah.
business is always changing and there's always a new problem. So are just like, I mean, this happens with people when they have kids. A lot of times the kids become the main topic for conversation. We have kids and a business. So we can
Yeah, that's
always
a
be in these other roles that are not like
mm,
romantic partners. So
hmm.
it's been a total journey. And now that we have a little more space again, it's kind of fun because I'm like, I can like talk to you about what you're thinking about. And I have no idea what happened for most of your workday today. So I could even talk to you about that. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot that feels new. Um,
Hmm.
so I get it. It's not for everybody, but I think that it maybe goes back to in a personal relationship, it's almost like the boundaries need to be maybe more formal.
Hmm. And it seems like you even established some like, I don't know, like protocols, for lack of a
Yeah.
better word, like where
Hardcore
it's
rules,
like we
hardcore
have a
like
lot of ways in which we could communicate, but like business stuff goes in Slack only, and that's how we're going to communicate about business stuff.
yeah, for a while, I even used my kids. I told them that if they caught me working outside of work hours, I would pay them $2.
Wow.
So it's
Oh,
like a
that's
swear jar.
brilliant.
But like if I had my laptop open or I was on my phone looking at anything to do with work, and they would be like, "Are you working right now on the weekend?" I'd be like, "Oh, $2."
That's amazing.
Yeah, I
Brilliant.
hired little narcs to they're so good at that job.
That's so good. I feel like there's nothing more like they're both narcs and the rebellious children in this scenario. What a dream for a
Yeah,
kid.
so funny. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Any other thoughts from you about like collaboration, working with family? It sounds like it's not something that's on your radar, and that probably keeps you like allows you to just be a human with your family and not be a business owner 24 hours a day, which I can't even imagine.
It's nice. I mean, when I'm thinking about it, actually my ex and I had a very like artistically collaborative relationship.
Okay.
And there was like some amazing qualities of that. I think we were not communicating as much. Like we were so young. We were not having these conversations about like, oh,
Mhm.
when are we in work mode and
Yeah.
relationship mode and that relationship had other issues. But I definitely see the value in what you're describing. I'm just thinking about like what the non-negotiables are for
Mm.
me in a
Hmm.
collaboration, or like what questions I ask myself when I'm exploring the possibility of a collaboration. I think it might be fun to talk about
Yeah.
that.
What's coming up when you ask that question?
So the first thing, by far the most important thing for me is like, is this a good person? Is this a person
Mm.
that I want to spend time with? That's like I like the other stuff can be negotiated maybe
Mhm.
if there's enough benefit or if the project is small enough in scope. But if it's like a marriage type of collaboration,
Mhm.
I gotta like the person and I gotta just like enjoy
Yes.
exchanging ideas with them.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds obvious, and I don't know that a lot of people are very explicit about thinking that through when the opportunity for collaboration presents itself.
I think you are 100% right. Um, I've worked with so many people who have like co-founders and they're just like, I liked this person because I was excited about the idea. But 2, 3, 4 years in, they're like, I cannot stand my co-founder. Like I would never want to spend time with them outside of this container.
That's
And
such a
that
difficult
and that's
place to
and
be.
like maybe that's fine when things are going well, but like when there's cracks in what's happening in your business and you don't like the person that you're going to solve the problem with, That's tough.
Hmm. Yeah, and if you don't have shared values and like
Mhm.
shared perspective, or even if not like shared values, like positions that you can respect,
Totally.
that's really tricky.
Yeah. I think my brain gymnastics about collaborations because of everything I've shared about my history of doing too much is like I actually give myself that question because I do get excited about ideas and I will like I had an idea today and I was like, "Oh, this would be like a full year-long project that I could totally spend 10 hours a week on." I was like, "I think I will think about that in 2027, not
Hmm.
2026."
Hmm.
I'm a big ideas person. I can make those things come to life and I will follow through with projects that I think are important. So I think a question for me and for anybody who maybe tends to do more than their share of a project um, is like, if I had to do 100% of the work in this collaboration, would I still be excited about it?
Ooh.
It's kind of using something that I could say is like a fault, but it's like, I'm going to use this as a barometer for how much I really want to do it. Because if I'm only
Hmm.
interested in something, if the other person does X, Y, and Z, it's probably not actually vision aligned. If I'm going to do it with or without the other person, even if I have to drag them up the hill with me, then it's probably something that is aligned.
That's a beautiful, beautiful question to ask yourself. And that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to start asking myself that.
It's good like a brain gymnastics, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
Do you
that's
think that would have, this might be too messy of a question.
oh
I'm thinking about this for myself as well.
yeah.
Are there any collaborations you would not have entered into if you'd asked that question of yourself?
Yes.
Hmm.
Many.
Yeah, I think so for me as
Many. I would
well.
have just been like, if I had to do all of this by myself, I'll just do it by myself.
Right. Why have the added work of, yeah. I think, yeah, I don't regret any of the collaborations that I entered into because I did learn from all of them, but I do think that's a really beautiful question to ask. And I think I'm thinking of like any other non-negotiables for me. I feel like this kind of goes without saying, but depending on the context, I also just want to like the other person's work and think about it. Like, I think a
Yes.
collaboration will feel very different if you're approaching it from the perspective of like, I guess to your last point, like, I don't want to do all the work. I want someone to share the work with
Mm-hmm.
and just like kind of take some of the responsibility versus this person with their specific skill set and like themness and ideas is someone that I want to build
Yeah.
something with.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
just feels unsurprisingly, that feels a lot better.
Feels a lot better. And I mean, like, I think about the biggest collaboration in my life is not work, it is like having children.
Yeah.
I want to collaborate on the parenting with Steve. I really don't want to do that alone. But
Hmm.
if someone said you have to do it alone, or if that's what life throws at me, I would still do it. Like I
Hmm.
think I think it's important to say like it doesn't mean that we should have to want to do everything alone because collaborations do lighten the load. I get so much like energy from talking to you. There's no
Same.
way if I had to show up at the beginning of this hour and do a podcast today, it would not have happened. I would have been like,
No.
yeah,
I don't want to
I
ramble
have nothing
about
to say. Yeah,
business.
I have nothing to say.
Yeah.
But like this is so easy. And every time I look at the clock, I'm just like, how is it almost done? Like, how are we're through the second half of this podcast? Um,
Hmm.
that is like a joy, but I think maybe that's the energy is like having the other person there isn't to feel like I don't have to do as much work. I'm never like looking at Steve thinking, whew, I'm glad he's here. So I don't have to do all this parenting by myself. I'm like, oh, I'm like grateful. I'm like grateful that he's there. I'm grateful that if I need a break, I need a minute. If something's going down, like we're not out, no, I'm not outnumbered by my
Hmm.
children. And like they have other people to support them. And I just think that that's like the spirit I want to bring into collaborations. It's like, I don't ever want to need the other person to do all the things. I want to be grateful that they're there because it does make it more fun and easier and like joyful.
Yes, I love that. I think for this podcast specifically, like it always feels like magic when the episode comes out and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you did it." Like because Erin she has a background in like audio engineering and stuff. So for listeners, Erin does all the like packaging and uploading of the podcast and then I post about it. Um but I
I love that
love
you post a thing and I'm like, oh look, it's a cute clip of our podcast. What'd she pick?
I think this is like a healthy vibe though to model for collaborations that I'm not like expect I don't know. It's different. Like I do sort of expect it just because that's kind of implicit in our
Yeah,
arrangement. And it always feels like a gift to me when you like do anything around the
same.
podcast. And that's like that feels really great. Like it makes the collaboration really fun. And I think that this is obviously like we're not hardcore going after a business goal with this podcast, but I think that energy is something that to me is a sign of a healthy collaboration.
Yeah. And I mean, I love that you said it. And I feel the same way. I also think that this is what people should aspire to. Even if you have a hardcore thing you're going after, this is the energy I hope that people will aspire to in their collaborations where whatever the other person does feels like a gift. You get energy from doing it. It is something that ideally it brings you closer to whatever lantern you're lighting and all of that good stuff. But it doesn't feel like I never go, oh, I gotta do a pod, I gotta do coaching with you
Hmm.
today. I'm just like, oh no, I gotta get my drink. What's
Right.
happening?
Yeah, oops, I put that off for too
Yeah,
long.
yeah,
Now it's
exactly.
boiling over.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, I wish everybody kind of like has a higher standard for collaboration. And I think you can't have that higher standard without communicating to like to the point that you've been making. Like you have to really talk to the other person, enjoy their company, and yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, and knowing yourself,
Hmm?
which I think is the piece. I don't know that we said that out loud, but like
Nope.
that's the piece you were describing about how you had some unexamined expectations that you brought into the relationship without
Yeah.
even really realizing it and had some resentments building up. So then part of being a part of a healthy or building a healthy collaboration is knowing what your expectations are with yourself,
Hmm?
like first, and then talking about them.
Yeah. I literally written a book where I shared all of that.
Hmm.
Took about 10 times of going, huh, why does this keep happening? I'm like, I know what's happening. It's me. It's
Oh,
it's
it's
not all of these people. It's actually me.
it's so rude
Yeah.
when your
The
work
answer is,
is
oh,
being used
darn.
against you by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I just share that because we're coaches and this is still a struggle and this is something that is a pattern. And I think I think maybe what you asked like about what shifted, I think what shifted too is like I started listening to the discomfort that I was feeling. That's like I
Hmm.
think always the wisdom is in like whatever the static is, it's pointing you to something. And to me, it was pointing me to like, hey, stop doing the same thing over and over again and expecting someone to respond differently,
Yes.
especially like brand new business people who've never don't have an email list and have never launched a program before. Like maybe don't offer it in that way. If you want to share
Hmm.
something, then share it, but don't expect them to be part of the marketing.
Yeah,
I'll
without
also
having
say
that
thank you for doing the
conversation.
marketing for this podcast because
I'm
it's
delighted.
really
Thank you for
nice.
taking care of the video and the the editing and such. I feel like I get like down a rabbit hole with that. I have a podcast that I was starting like almost 10 years ago that like I recorded some things with people and just like got to editing and spent so long on it. I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah. I went through that too. I think I just talked about this on the other podcast, on my other one this week, but like mind expanders, it used to take me 6 hours to edit a podcast episode.
Wow.
And then one day I had to catch a flight and I was like, this, it's either I do this now and I edit this and it goes out, or it doesn't happen this week at all. And I learned how to edit in 20 minutes. Or I also learned that you don't actually have to edit at all.
Yep.
You can just upload the audio file and
Yep.
sound like a
Let it be
human.
what it is.
And yeah, and
hmm
that changed everything. I got many hours back in my week.
hmm Yeah. I know we're like about to wrap up, but I think it might be nice because probably a lot of the listeners are solopreneurs
Mm-hmm.
for whom, especially if they don't have a background in like strong background in collaboration or the arts, if someone is wanting to dip their toes into collaborative relationships, but like maybe works alone or is used
Mm-hmm.
to more traditional work structure where like they have a boss and colleagues, do we have any advice for them? And I
Yeah.
asked it, but I'm happy to start
Yeah,
if
please,
you want a
please. I'd
moment
love
to
to hear what you
think.
think. Yeah.
Um, I guess the first thing that comes to mind for me is, first of all, like amazing, the world of collaborations. I'm so passionate about it. It's
Mhm.
brought me so much joy and expanded my world a lot. I would say maybe find like very small ways to collaborate. Like your mind might immediately jump to like business partner or
Mhm.
like maybe I need a COO or something like that.
Mhm.
But there can be very small ways of collaborating, like on a course or a podcast episode. Or even just like reaching out to someone and exchanging ideas.
Yep.
Like I think the first step to building a collaboration is just building relationships with people you find interesting
Yeah.
and seeing what sparks from there.
100%. I think building relationships. And I mean, I think in a world too where there's so much like impersonal selling and like a guy spamming 10,000 people at a time, like via email. I think relationships are the core of it. And I'll just share like, so I get my email is the one on this episode. So I get, or on these podcasts. So I am the one that
Yes.
gets the spam messages of like,
Another
hey,
thing
I
I'm very
listened to your
grateful
insert
for.
topic here on insert podcast name here. Um,
hmm
I think what a lot of people miss when they are, even people who are authentically pitching to collaborate with someone, is if you are asking to work with someone or you're just asking for time to connect with and build a relationship with someone, I think like sharing what you bring to the table. Like I'm almost thinking like if you were going to go pitch to like Shark Tank, you wouldn't
Mm.
just talk about your credentials or your new program. You're going to talk about the issue that the client in front of you has. It's funny. I'm just like, I don't know why I get 5 business coaches a day pitching to be on my business coaching show. I'm just like, that's you asking me to promote your business coaching on my business coaching podcast.
Yep.
I don't know how you think that works.
hmm
Like if you want to collaborate with someone, I would find a way that is unique where you are bringing something that is an asset to what they do.
hmm
I know it sounds weird to be like, yeah, you have to prove yourself to other people, but that's how I did it. I taught for so many people. I joined people's programs. I read their books. I put in time to like connect with and build relationships with people who I wanted to ideally work with. And I got to work with a lot of those people,
Yeah.
not from saying, hey, I'm a business coach and I'd like to come and talk about my business coaching services on your business coaching podcast.
That would be very, very beneficial to me.
Yeah, that's going to benefit me and get free promotion for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think to that point, that's such a fantastic point. So I think there are kind of two steps to building collaboration type of work. There's like first identifying what you want, what lights you up, what would be fun and interesting, and who you admire and who you might want to work with,
Yeah.
or just build a better, closer relationship with to see if you would want to work with them. And then there's kind of like the stuff that came up earlier in the podcast. There's thinking through, okay, how I'm clear how this benefits me. How does this benefit the other person?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because people are busy. If you invite them to do something that doesn't benefit them in some way, probably not a healthy collaboration, because a healthy
Right.
collaboration, as we said before, is mutually beneficial. And that doesn't have to mean like tangible
Mm-hmm.
business
Not at all. Yeah.
benefit. Like,
Yeah.
look at our podcast. I think it benefits us both because it's a space where we get to have fun. It's like
Mm-hmm.
be a little silly, talk about ideas that light us up, that we're passionate about,
Yeah.
and support each other along the way. For me, that's hugely beneficial. It doesn't really impact the bottom line of my business,
Yeah.
but like that's kind of a no-brainer type of collaboration for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. Oh,
Yes.
this was amazing. And
Yes.
thank you to the
Wonderful as
listener
always.
who suggested this topic. It was such a good topic. Please keep them coming. We
Yes.
love to like hear what's on your mind and what, I think what a lot of times people don't realize about coaching is a lot of it is us ignoring our own thoughts so that we can stay present with the person in front of us. So it's actually really fun for us to get to share our insights and opinions that are sometimes right there with a the client, but it's not the
Not
time. It's not
appropriate.
the time to teach, or, they
Mhm.
don't need our brilliant idea right now. They just need to stay with
Yeah.
their own process. So yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful to you for spending this time with me as always.
Likewise. I realized that we ask people to submit their
Oh yeah.
ideas or questions, but we never really said like how they
Told them how.
should.
Yep.
Yeah. But like you can, I don't know. We didn't discuss this beforehand,
Oh,
so
it's
I'm not
good.
sure the best way. You can post we publish like episode stuff very
Yeah.
very official language there. We market podcast episodes on my Instagram and Erin's Instagram. Mine's at Elena McKernan. Erin's is at Be Superabound. You could leave it as a comment. You could DM one of us. Is that
Yeah,
probably the
yeah,
best
that
way?
that totally helps. If you really don't like social media and you just want to email, you can email hello@besuperbound.com, where someone on my team or myself will see suggestions. I mean, the AI spam bots find my emails. Should make it
Yes.
easier for listeners to email us. Yeah, and if you have questions, I can always forward them to Elena, and we can talk about them on the show as well.
Wonderful. Yay. Thanks for
All right.
listening. And
Have
thank
a
you,
great.
Erin. Have
Thank
a great
you.
day.
Bye.
Bye.